Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's very hot here. Very hot indeed.
Very hot here too. I've had to pull the table away from the window because there was nothing to cover the sun so I could see, if you know what I mean.
Oh, right. Yeah. So what's your week been like? You've moved, I understand.
Yeah, you tell me about yours first. I'll tell you about mine in a minute.
Well, not much really. I've been having lots of fun with Kim, who's still here. Jeremy's gone. 2 daughters arrived and 2 friends on Saturday. And they got through absolute carnage and chaos at Kalamata Airport, whereas poor Jeremy had to queue for hours just to check in.
Sorry, back up. Why carnage? What's going on?
Because they've introduced this passport scanning thing where they're scanning everyone's passports on a machine, and they've also increased the number of flights in and out of Kalamata without increasing the capacity or staff by any measurable amount. And so, we've got more planes coming in and out, no more room, no more staff. And they're scanning everyone's passports, which is slowing everything down dramatically.
Not good.
No. So,
an airport is not a good place to pile on more stress.
Well, especially when it's so tiny, this one. It's like,
and hot,
it's smaller.
Presumably. Is it air conditioned?
It's air conditioned inside, but people are having to queue outside.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. They can't get in the building.
No, that's grim.
So, yes, incoming doesn't seem to be so bad, except you might have to wait a little bit for your luggage. But outgoing sounds like utter 7 circles of hell or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it is called the 7 circles of hell. Actually, for now, I'll tell you what we'll do. On the 4th of July 2019, we will give Kalamata Airport the 7 Circles of Hell Award until we hear of a better example.
Outgoing.
Yes.
Incoming's fine.
Yeah, when are you outgoing next?
Well, I'm outgoing, unfortunately, at the end of August, which should be just as bad as it is now.
Okay, and that's before all of the people come and in-go and outcome, income and outgo, they're coming to stay with you.
Yeah, it's yes, exactly. So Phoebe's arriving on the 31st, so she shouldn't have any trouble getting in, but both of us getting out is going to be another matter.
Well, you could lie, you see, assuming she doesn't listen to the podcast. If people think coming in is all right, and then you get them back to the airport and Scarpa, they won't know or blame you or be psyched for it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we have had a lovely time. Jane came here many years ago when she had 2 small children, and she arrived and stayed at a luxury complex up the hill. And we could understand why she hadn't liked it very much, but she told us it was because when she got there, they announced there was absolutely no water and no prospect of any coming back on again. So no showers, no loos, no nothing.
Who is Jane?
Jane is a friend of Kim and mine from way back when we were in our teens. And to give the place credit, they did give them 24 bottles of Evian, but it wasn't adequate for showering 2 very hot, sweaty adults and 2 hot, sweaty children. So, so they had to be asked to be relocated and ended up somewhere entirely different that they didn't know at all. So, so that sort of coloured her judgment of the place ever since.
Yes. And is she back with you? Is she there now?
She is, and she's having a lovely time, and she can't believe how beautiful it is. So
okay, and she's a friend of Kim's that came at the same time as Kim, or
no? She came with her Kim's daughters and another friend.
Ah, okay. So Kim plus 4 is actually Kim plus 6.
Yes.
Okay, I'm changing my notes here. Plus 6.
Well, really, it doesn't matter.
No, but I like to know what's going on, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 2 of them go on Saturday, and the daughters stay on for another week.
Yes, no, I knew that for last week. Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you're up to date with all my visitors.
Yes. You got more news, have you?
Well, that's it really. We've just been going around and showing them some of my favourite places, but they are very much beach bunnies. So they arrived with large inflatables and a pump in their hand luggage, which they've now spent nearly a week having a lovely time, and they're just venturing onto paddleboarding.
Leave them to it, Nicola. If people want beach, just leave them to it.
Yeah, I know it. They're very happy.
Why would you want to pack anybody into a car at this time of the year and tour them around?
I don't.
No.
They organised one lunch yesterday, and we all ended up in a food coma. We ate so much squid and
that sounds nice.
Anchovies. Yes, it was lovely. So that's it. I've just been occasionally hanging out with those guys and trying to get my work done in the morning so I can go and join them. What about you?
Well, your Seven Circles of Hell and Evian stories make me feel a little bit more cheerful about what I'm about to tell you about today, which is actually going to colour my whole conversation today. As you know, we weren't sure that the Wi-Fi in my new gaff was going to be sufficient for us to podcast, but it seems to be working at the moment, doesn't it?
It is, yeah, it's fine.
Yes, so what day is it today? Thursday. I moved house on Tuesday morning from the nice Stupa lady's house. All went well at the front end. I loaded the car myself. It was an easy drive. I'm back in the English countryside where the miles are very slow. So it was only 20 or 30 miles, but it took me, I don't know, more than an hour. And the nearest supermarket is billed online as 4.5 miles away. And it says, allow 12 miles.
Good God, what's that mean?
That's 4.5, hang on a minute, 4.5, 9, 2 9s are 18, 19, 29. It's like 22 miles an hour in speed.
Oh.
That's the best you can hope for. Anyway, the place is all right, and it's provoked me. I'm not going to moan about it. Stop me moaning. Whenever you catch me moaning, stop me moaning about it. It's provoked my focus of the week. I will need an air tasker when I leave next week because I'm upstairs and loading the car and unloading the car myself. Oh dear, nearly finished me off. Thank heavens I found a sort of fitter, older, tinier, wiry man to run my stuff upstairs. But if he hadn't appeared at just the right moment, it would have been grim. Now, Airtasker isn't working well in the remoteness of near Gatwick. I'm near Gatwick, and actually I can't hear it, which is rather good. So I moved from near Heathrow to near Gatwick. Saw a lot of orange buzzy planes like flies. You know, EasyJet is a sort of honeypot. Gatwick's a honeypot for EasyJet, isn't it? The sky is filled with orange as you approach.
North Terminal is entirely given over to EasyJet.
Can't hear them here, fortunately, but I'm not very far away. But I might. So Airtasker isn't stretching all the way out here. I might try Gumtree, or I might see if they've got a local handyman I can bribe. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Tell me what's your fire. I've got quite a long one, warning alert.
Well, I've got quite a short one, but it's actually what's not fueled my fire.
Mine is a bit of a mixed thing. Go.
Yeah. Facebook have closed my business account and all my associated ad accounts down. I have got no idea why. I think it could be because I was advertising for page likes for Swagger and Soul, and on that it talks about loss and bereavement and
that doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
I know, but or the other thing I was advertising was I was boosting a Facebook Live interview with Matthew Toman, a successful film producer.
Right, why would that cause
anything in that?
They just don't like you, Nicola.
Well, no, I honestly think it's the Swagger and Soul thing because I was talking about bereavement and loss and career change. And
yeah, but that isn't. Everybody talks about that all of the time.
You're not allowed to talk about anything negative in your ads. And although I didn't say anything negative in my ad, the page it was pointing to did talk about negative things, but overcoming them, in the context of overcoming them and getting past them and getting better.
The genius idea of Swagger and Soul is already
dead in the water, yes.
Oh, that's very upsetting because that was a good project.
I've had to work very hard, Judith, on maintaining equilibrium since
well done you.
The thing is, I can still run my clients' ads because they're in their own accounts.
Yeah.
But what I cannot do is open another business manager or open any ad accounts. So luckily, I signed up for Ilana Weschler's Green Arrow Digital training on all kinds of paid ads because I wanted to learn YouTube advertising. And I haven't got around to it because I've been too busy and it's been too hot and I've been having too much fun. And I didn't need to. Well, now I need to. So I managed to get an AdWords account up and running again because, of course, you remember they banned me in 2003.
Yeah.
So I've got a new AdWords account. And I'm managing to run traffic to my website from that today.
Successfully?
74p a click so far.
Okay.
Successfully will be whether it turns into leads.
Yes, but how many are they sending? Can you see at least?
Well, I'm only spending £10 a day, so they're only sending 10.
Ah, right, okay.
Because it's coming in at under £1 a pop.
Got you.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend that budget a bit. I'm going to see if I get any leads from it. I've got my UTM tracking in there, and then I'm going to try and learn about YouTube advertising because it's much. And Neil Asher says he's getting leads. He said Facebook just got so expensive. AdWords got so expensive. It just wasn't worth it, but he's getting new customers at a very affordable rate on YouTube ads.
You probably saw yesterday that WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram were struggling globally. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Outages?
Yeah.
Well, just a conspiracy theory head up here. They're all going to disappear imminently anyway. So you've lost nothing. You're just ahead of the curve there.
Well, we don't know that, do we?
I do. They're going down. They're going down. It may be possibly today, Independence Day in America. They may be going down today.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
Yes. Look for arrests as well.
Yes, well, we'll see.
YouTube advertising. Tell me what you know about that in like 30 seconds or less.
What? About what?
YouTube advertising.
I never click on any ads. So I'm in that camp of thinking it's not going to work because I never click on them.
Yeah.
But then I used to think that about Facebook ads, and I click on them all the time now.
Yeah.
So I don't know is the answer. I've got to make little videos to go in front of other people's videos. And
I see. So when I go on to something on YouTube and it makes me watch something else, it's that you would be clicked from.
Yes. But apparently, I've got to, lots of people do click on them. So.
And have you looked at Neil's for an example of what works?
No, I've never seen one of Neil's.
No.
But, anyway, he'll tell me, I'm sure, if I ask him. But it's just exhausting that you have to keep changing things. And
I know.
I mean, I'm not, I thought to myself, it's so bloody unfair. And I thought, I can't talk to Judith about unfair, what with her pension thing going.
Well, you can. I mean, but what you meant was you didn't want to stir up my, your ire.
Your
Yes, absolutely.
ire.
Yes, I know.
Because keeping a sense of perspective, it's actually just such a tiny thing in the grand blip of life. It's just. I
don't agree. I think I use almost all of my hard drive to manage my expectations and emotions.
Yes, you have to, don't you?
Yes.
And it's just I don't understand. As usual, it's the fact there's no one to talk to.
Well, with Facebook, that is an annoying thing, isn't it?
I mean, theoretically, you can get someone on chat, but every time you try to fill the form in to get the chat started, it says, today it said, no, you can't, that ad account has already been appealed. And I thought, well, yes, I have appealed it, and I've had an answer, but it was an answer I want to talk about.
Yes. Yes.
It's just infuriating because it shouldn't matter because my Be Everywhere online system works whether you advertise or not. And my clients get results from it, so I'll probably get results from it. But
is there another way you can reach an audience? Other ways?
Doing Facebook Lives. That's the only other way.
Yeah, well, you go for that. Oh, you can't, though. You can?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you just can't.
You can. No, I meant was you can you? They haven't closed all your accounts?
No, they haven't closed my pages down. They've closed my ad account down.
Marvellous.
Yeah, so I'll have to do more of those. I was planning to do more of those anyway, but it's just annoying that I can't now boost them afterwards. But anyway, I'll stop groaning on.
All right, so it's only annoying. It's not the end.
No, it's not the end of the world.
No. I'd taken it as the end of Facebook for you. So actually, you could do Facebook Lives about Swagger and Soul.
I could, yes, which is what I was planning to do anyway.
Yes, exactly.
It's just I can't get over this sense of grievance that is crippling me from taking.
I understand. Give it. Well, let's go back to the topic of bereavement. Some things take time.
Yes.
And you've had a loss here. It's a small one, but just give it some time to run off your back.
At least it gives me something to talk about when I'm talking about overcoming loss.
Yes, and also quite useful that you will probably have a worse example of this than any one of your clients ever.
Yes, nobody else is going to get shut down like this.
No, because they all do different things. Yeah.
I hope Phoebe hasn't been getting nasty emails from them because it was her accounts they've shut down.
Oh dear. Okay.
He's never going to do Facebook ads. Trust me. Okay. I could commandeer Nelson's account and get started again, but I don't know if I can be asked.
No, I know what you mean. If it's all going to come back to this, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, you go because
yes, okay. So I shared something this week, which was one of my memories on Facebook, and I'd shared it before, and it's just quite controversial, but I think you'll like it in the end. So bear with me. It's from a man called Robert Craven, who has described himself as the founder of Grow Your Digital Agency. Of course, I've never heard of Grow Your Digital Agency or Robert Craven, but you might have done. Yeah. And he says every publication offering advice on how to run your business is a con, a rip-off. Reading them is the root of all evil. These books should carry a government health warning. Following the advice of this best-selling author is tantamount to silent for your company. So why am I, a published author, ranting about the use? Is this really a suicide note? No, I am desperate that you don't waste your money on business books, mine included, unless you are prepared to really use the book to make a significant difference to your business. Let me expand on why books, even good ones, can do you so much harm. Usually you simply can't do all the things suggested. You can't see the relevance of what you have read for your business. The author never quite tells you what you need to do. That's your one. Or maybe the book is basically a load of old rubbish. Failure is key, so what really is my beef? Ironically, all self-help industries, business books included, depend on failure. Look at the success of the various diet clubs. This is a bit harsh because, of course, we know a good example of it working. If they were any good, people would attend and never need to return, but they do. Here's my favorite line from his whole thing. There is an inverse correlation between your business success and the number of business books you own. Few people who have actually been there and done it write brilliant business books. Most publications are written to satisfy the ego of the author. At best, most business books tell you stuff you already know. There are, of course, numerous exceptions to these rules. The problem at the heart of my argument is simple. People buy and read the books, but they don't implement anything. So why waste your time reading them if you're not going to bother to do anything about it? Taking action. So, what is to be done? I beg and implore you never to buy another business book, which is what you'll remember mine said, without first committing to make your reading time well spent. And what should you do? By now, if you had acted on suggestions, inspiration, or things to avoid at all costs, you should know what you need to do because you've read all about it. So now it's time to make things happen. It's as simple as that. The rules of running a business are reasonably straightforward. Another thing I said in mine. You just need to apply them with enthusiasm and determination. So here are your 6 rules. Now, one of my followers on Facebook has already taken issues with the wording in number 2, but actually I think it's okay. 1, sell a product that people want to buy and sell it for more than it costs you. I think that we can agree. That's a simple rule of shopkeeping. 2, focus on your customers' needs, wants and hurts and present your product in such a way that it seduces them to buy from you. 3, deliver remarkable service and create raving fans and ambassadors. 4, charge decent prices so you can invest in the business and do not compete on price. 5, take action, as these things don't just happen on their own. 6, and finally, make sure you focus on your end game. P.S. Fahrenheit 451 is the burning temperature of paper, which I love. I think that is a genius posting. I don't know who he is, Robert Craven, founder of Grow Your Digital. But, don't read another bloody book without resolving to implement what you learn in it, basically.
The thing is, and it's funny you should say that because my Who or What Impressed this week speaks to this topic as well. The hardest thing that most businesses don't do is numbers 1 and 2. Is find people who've got a problem and solve it for them. Because
and yet that's why they went into business, isn't it? That's why they went into business. They've had a good idea.
Yes, or they thought they could do something better than someone else who's already solving the problem. But everyone always tries to do things in a new, different way. And actually, you just need to do it in the normal way, but get in front of a hungry crowd, which is so hard to do. So I don't know why.
I think it depends on your business. I think it might be hard for you. I don't think it's hard for somebody owning and running a B&B, for instance.
Or a cafe or an...
But yes, because you may have bought it as a going concern.
Yes, Yes, and there's lots of real-world businesses that you could buy into tomorrow, but they do require you to actually be there. That's the problem, isn't it?
Depends, again, on the nature of the business. Actually, as I'm going to demonstrate in Focus of the Week, the man that owns this one isn't here.
All right.
But anyway, that did fuel my fire because it's nicely controversial.
Yes.
It's poking people and saying, will you stop reading the bloody books and will you get on and do some work? And it's not complicated. I think that's really empowering. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's not like there are secrets that people are hiding from you.
But you need someone to talk to remind you that it's not difficult and it's not hard and there aren't...
Maybe, but we are all in communities on Facebook and everything.
Yeah. But the people who are the most pontificating in those communities are the people who've never actually done the thing because they're in those communities.
Sometimes you're giving me a lot of platitudes today. It must be very hot where you are. Sometimes they are, yes. But I think we've all got discernment. Oh, I've got an answer for all of your buts today.
My sweeping generalisation.
Yes. And normally criticise me for sweeping generalisation.
My slightly grumpy sweeping
generalisation. Yes. And with good cause. Now, shall we move along so that we don't get stuck in the grumpy sweeping generalisation?
Sure then.
Okay, so mine is a grumpy-based sweeping generalisation if I'm not careful, so keep me off that. What I thought we would talk about is property as a business. And I want to start by making a distinction, because when we learned how to buy and invest in property, it was quite a simple choice. It was buy and hold, buy and rent out. Buy and hold for capital appreciation, buy and rent out. That was pretty much what we learned to do. And pretty much, and what? And
if you can, buy at slightly under market value.
Well, they were different times, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, you could buy an awful lot under market value now because, of course, of Brexit, but there's nobody about with any money and nobody will lend you any. But, buy and hold, buy and rent out. That's where we began as property investors. Now, I am staying in a building that is a property as a business. And I was thinking many, many friends and clients who are landlords and property investors in one way or another over the years have when they see that those first two ones, the simple ones, the 101 versions, have limitations, they've looked for smarter ways to do it. And they include holiday homes, because you get a marvellous return on a holiday home of, much more a week than you do by renting it out, as long as it's in a decent place. You get some nice tax breaks on a holiday home. You can stay there yourself, Airbnb, again, one of our ladies next week is going to talk to us about Airbnb-ing properties as a profit centre. One of my clients does housing people for the council in social need at nightly rates. All of my properties are now rented out by people, agents who take the properties as the tenant, and each night for what they can get, which is much more profitable. I'm thinking your Acacia, and I want to draw parallels to your Acacia in a minute, to the place where I'm staying now. So It's a country house in the countryside near Gatwick. Scenically, it's beautiful. It's quiet. It's in the countryside. It's a good time of year to be in the countryside. And the inside of the house, not sure about the Acacia. I don't think you did this in the Acacia. You had lots of bedrooms, didn't you, in the Acacia? But you didn't have to chop up the building to do it, did you, or did you?
No, it was already chopped.
Yeah, well, this one's been chopped up, but badly. But so I'm going to start with what I like about it. I'm in a flat, so I've got a kitchen, a bedroom, a living room, and a bathroom. And the two biggest rooms are the rooms I use least. So I will probably never sit in the living room in a week. And it's taking up a huge amount of that space. And the bedroom is enormous. I could do country dancing in it, but the ensuite is so small I can't move in it. Literally, to begin with, I thought, I'm going to have to move because I couldn't sit on the toilet. It was so small.
Oh, good God.
The longest bone in my body is between my knickle and my knee. I don't know what that bone is called. But it's what makes Victorian theatres and aeroplane seats uncomfortable for me, because it's long. And if I sat on the loo in the way I'm supposed to sit on it, I couldn't get my second leg on the ground.
Oh, my God.
So I have to use the loo sideways.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, the point is, they could have taken twice the space out of the bedroom and I wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
All the light switches are in strange places, and every electric cable that goes down the wall is in trunking rather than hidden in the wall.
Right.
Everything's electric, and there's an electric meter. Funnily enough, that doesn't burn much, oddly. So I think, I've got the fridge freezer on. I've got the computer on. I cooked something in the oven yesterday. I don't think I've used much in electric. I've no idea how to run an electric meter, but I've got a meter, which
Do you put coins in it?
Well, no, I don't think you do anymore, Nicola. You don't think you have keys and you do it online. They do it, I think. I had to give them a 50 quid advance. They don't seem to have applied it to my meter yet. And anyway, whatever. There's rules up the yin-yang. There's a slightly dodgy smell, and I wish I had my own sheets with me. But there's good light. I'm working in the kitchen, so there's at the kitchen table. So actually, from where I'm sitting now, I can reach everything. I can reach the fridge, the washing machine, the oven, the dishwasher, the micro. I could do everything from here. But of course, I'm in, again, one of the two tiny rooms. So actually, I remember when I lived in that flat in Canary Wharf where you came to stay with me.
Yeah, lovely.
People who do space design can sometimes be quite stupid, because in that flat there was the living room out the front, which was lovely. It had a view to the front and to the right. Then the rooms were all down the right. So there was a kitchen, second bedroom / dining room, my bedroom with an ensuite bathroom. And then just before the front door, an enormous bathroom that nobody ever used. So wasting all the space. So the space designers are, what's that thing? They're lacking in spatial awareness.
I think they're lacking in practicality. They're all men, there must be.
Well, I think it's been slightly bodged. Now, good thing is the people are charming. People who are staying here are charming. People who are running it are charming. Certainly the liaison that I've met is charming. Very can-do. It's affordable, and I think that is the answer here, because once you start lavishing on the sort of things that you and I would want, it's not going to be 70 quid a night, it's going to be 90 quid a night.
You might as well be in a hotel then.
Well, exactly. Now, if you take a big property in the country that nobody wants, and you could afford to buy it right now, which I don't know how we would do that, but maybe you could, maybe with an option. And then it either has a layout that lends itself to what is effectively a hotel, because you have to buy a week in the time. It's a hotel. It's like a home from home. So it's like a serviced apartment. There's no reception. There's nothing you would expect from a hotel, but you're self-sufficient within a building that is, in all other regards, a hotel. So Ocado came yesterday. I've got an address, flat 2, da-dee-da-dee-da. I've got free car parking. Notionally, I've got free Wi-Fi, which, surprise, surprise, is turning out to be good enough to speak to you. There's quite a lot of free stuff thrown in. And I could stay here forever. Oh, God. But I could stay here forever, which would mean I could be off-grid because nothing's in my name. No council tax, no nothing. So there's do you see? But
how does the weekly cost? What was that? 350 quid.
It is for me, but it isn't for everybody else. The majority of the properties here, I mean, there's some one-bed flats, which was all that was left. So obviously, what's right about this business is it's full up.
Yeah.
There's some one-bed flats. I got the last one left, so I didn't have a choice. There is the odd two-bedroom flat, I think, but there are loads of studios, and the studios are cheaper. I think they're 40 quid a night. So depending on what your circumstances are, that might work for you very nicely. Let's say you work for a company that sends you away from wherever your home is, or you have to go and stay near Gatwick for Monday to Thursday or something like that. 40 quid a night. You'd have to pay 7 nights because they only sell it by the week. But anyway, let's go back to it as a business. You've got multiple units within the one quite large building. You had 2 buildings, didn't you? You had the building next door.
Yes, they were joined.
Yeah.
But they were
how many bedrooms did you have overall?
12.
I'm not sure how many units there are here. I think there are probably a good deal more than that. But they're all paying somewhere between, let's say, 40 and 100 a night. And there are quite a lot of them. So do you see, I mean, the nightly turnover must be £2,000?
Yes.
At least. I haven't even done the sums yet. I could do it later. But, do you see how profitable that is?
14 grand a week then?
Yeah, could be more. I haven't even done the sums yet. Later I'll go out spying and see how many units there are. And, what's the average? I'll ask her. I'll ask my tomato-faced friend what are...
To give you some context, a 2-bedroom apartment housey thing out here is going for 1,000 a week in the high season.
In the high season, yeah. So there you go. Holiday lets in places like Stupa. There's another business model of property as a business.
Well, that's the thing here, because people buy holiday homes and then they find out they don't appreciate much at all. But you could get 1,000 a week for them at least 3 months of the year.
So actually what you've got to work out is, how do you want to make your money? Do you want to buy and hold? I mean, the brilliant thing about property as a business, whether it's the Airbnb, the Stupa ones you've described, or this one here, is actually it doesn't need to be hands-on for the owner.
No, there are plenty of people here who service apartments.
Quite. Yeah. And the Brazilian cleaner that I had in the Stupa house in Hampton twice, that was her main thing, was servicing Airbnb apartments in London.
Heather's actually thinking of doing some of this in Hove, where they live at the moment.
Well, that would work.
Because she's thinking of moving back to Shoreham, extending it to the fullest it can be extended, sideways, alleyways and things like that, out the back.
Yep.
Renovating it all, changing around the staircase, and then that'll increase the value of the property dramatically, apparently, which will cover all the expenses. And then she's going to then Airbnb the 3 flats in Hove.
Heather's quite a native cunning at this sort of thing.
She is very good with
property. She is. She feels it in her bones. Yeah,
she does.
Speaking of things like things around the other way, for instance, one example here is the fridge door opens the wrong way.
Oh, that's so annoying.
So I have to go round the fridge door to get into the fridge, because the washing machine is next.
That's just lazy. They could easily find
because fridge doors are but fridge doors are dual sided.
They could be.
Taught me this. You take them off and put the hinge on the other side.
Yeah, that's just lazy days. Because either nobody's complained, so they don't realise. But I always used to go and stay in each of my rooms at the Acacia to make sure everything was working fine.
I mean, I'm a big person, but I don't ever remember being pinched for space in the bathroom at your house, or
Well, they
only
weren't
having to go
tiny,
to. No, well, they were small. They were efficient, but they weren't. They weren't
impossible.
punishing.
No, because I stayed in each one of those bedrooms to make sure they weren't impossible.
But you never gave me. Did you have rules?
Not really. There were some
very punitive and terrifying rules here.
No, you wouldn't have transgressed any of my rules. That's for sure. What kind of rules are you being told then? What kind of do, or can you do? Do you have to do?
I can't remember now there's quite a lot of things I haven't even read yet. I daren't put the toaster on because if the fire alarm goes off, I'll have to run downstairs, which, as you know, for me is a physical impossibility.
Yeah.
Press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the burglar alarm. Hope it doesn't before it goes building wide, because if it goes building wide, that's all down to me, and there's a fine to pay of
Oh, good God!
It's that sort of thing. And I read the rules once, and then I read them a second time. Somehow, I think the listener will get this. Somehow, I am unable to retain rules.
No, I know what you mean. I read them; they go straight out my ears.
And yesterday as well, I've got net curtains, which my mother brought me up way ahead of time not to have. So, yesterday I was looking out for the Ocado man, who was allowed, but there's so many sort of pairs of knickers hanging at the window that I had to fold them over the stretchy wire so I could see out of the window to see the man. And I thought, somebody's going to come up here and tell me to pull those curtains. And I thought, I can't.
I couldn't hear any of that. You whispered it, so I couldn't hear
Part of my resistance is I can't cope with rules.
No. Well, you don't want to live there forever, do you? Which is lucky.
No. But
it's not nice enough, is it?
It's okay. It's okay, but I tell you what's annoying. If you've got any brain at all, when you see the way that things could be improved, like fridge doors. And honestly, the walk from my bed to the bathroom is enormous. They could have doubled the size of that bathroom and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, but then that involves structural work, doesn't it? Probably.
No. It just means the partition is bigger. I mean, they've got the toilet on the wrong wall. I don't know how they've done it. I honestly don't know how they've done it, to be honest.
Now, could I have made the Acacia into something like that?
Yeah, you could, but it would have been nicer.
Yeah, well, of course it would have been. But
hang on, before we go there, I want you to focus on the word nicer. Because you and I have got bit hoity-toity standards, that does come off the bottom line.
Yeah.
It only needs to be good, and just remember this, it only needs to be good enough and this place is full.
Yes.
So if you and I were implementing our slightly hoity-toity standards, it would be more expensive. And therefore possibly not full.
Not as profitable.
Yeah. And definitely not as profitable.
See, what I did wrong at the Acacia, I mean, I do actually dream about that place quite a lot and what I could have done better, differently, whatever, apart from the fact that I got really bored. What I should have done was implemented my hoity-toity standards, but then made it as, because it was like the Hoxton. It was budget where it luxury where it counts and budget where it doesn't. So the extras didn't actually cost me that much, but it made it so much nicer. But the thing that was the deal breaker, if you like, was that I wouldn't start breakfast an hour earlier. So that if I'd have started breakfast an hour earlier, I would have been full all year round because it was so much nicer than anywhere else. And if I'd have charged the same as everyone else, then I would have been absolutely rammed to the rafters. But because it was me doing the breakfasts and I didn't want to get up and start serving at 6:30 instead of 7:30.
If you'd paid somebody to do the breakfast from 6:30 onwards, also your breakfast was nicer than it needed to be.
Yes, it was really good. It was good stuff. Yeah.
It was. I mean, you can have an English fry-up, which is cafe style, which is perfectly adequate for most people. Yeah. You can have that nice middle-class thing with black pudding that we all loved, nicely done, served with, jam in blue bowls. It's that which is the profit margin.
Yes, I was just clueless about running a business, really.
No, you did really well. Considering you were clueless, you did really well. You followed your notes. The point is it was a nice place to stay. Yeah. The difference this has got that you didn't have there, and Liz listening with her B&B, I'll come back to the rules in a minute. Here I'm self whatever the word is. So I cook. I've got my fridge full of my own groceries. I do my own washing, and there's an oven. But I'm not, and there's a dishwasher. But I'm not allowed to hang my clothes up after I've put them in the thing because that makes the rooms damp. And Liz, the B&B owner, she doesn't let people cook in the rooms or do their washing in their rooms. And now she will understand these rules better than you and I because she runs an establishment where people cooking in their rooms and washing in their rooms causes problems in the rooms.
Absolutely. So how are you supposed to get your smalls dry then?
I think it's a washer dryer. I think I'm supposed to keep washing and drying them, but I don't like my clothes dried in the dryer.
No, I don't either.
No. I'm all right with the towels, but everything else, it dries creases into them, doesn't it?
It takes forever to dry
know.
something.
Well, I'm only here for 8 nights, so I've contemplated, have I got enough clothes not to actually wash any and take a full load of washing to the new place?
Yeah.
I think I'll probably break the rules, to be honest with you, Nicola.
Yes, hang it up. For God's sake. How much damp can you cause in 8 days?
Well, exactly. The point is, but if everybody's doing that every 8 days, then the answer is quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, you need quite a lot of damp extraction.
It's a good time of year, though, for me to break those rules because the windows are all open and it's hot.
Yeah, there's a nice flow through, as it's called. Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Anyway, let's go back to the point, which is if you are a landlord and you're quite exhausted by buy and hold, buy and rent out, there are other strategies out there, and the number of other strategies is growing all the time.
Yeah. I remember there was a good move towards upmarket HMOs.
Yes.
Where it was always, people...
Yes, Richard Leonard.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And so it was like flat share, but a bit more upmarket.
Yeah, I don't want to share with anyone. That's what's the beauty of here, actually. I'm independent.
Yes, so that is... And when you get independent, you need all those gadgets, don't you?
I think when you share, you're all right if you're in your 20s or if you're a raving extrovert.
Yeah, but if you could have a house like that with, as long as it had all the equipment in one room, but then you'd have to assign people days. That would be the most efficient.
They do have downstairs somewhere, which I will never need for the studio people, I believe, a big kitchen and a laundrette type of a room.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure the people in the studios have got as much as I've got. I think they've got a microwave.
Yeah, so you could go there and put yours in the tumble dryer, couldn't you?
I could, possibly. But if it's one of those... I'll go and have a look later. If it's one of those laundrette ones where they go round in a big spacious space, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, they're all right, aren't they?
I doubt it's one of those, but it might be.
But actually, most of my clothes wouldn't come out of that well.
No, everything shrinks in a tumble dryer.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about the business side.
I wanted people to open up their brains, you included, and I love it that you had. I warned you, I wanted you to talk about the Acacia, but I love it that you saw the superb 1,000 a week example as well, because actually with that, you have a season of how many weeks?
Well, it's quite long here, but
you say 20, 26, 20?
Oh, hang on, slow up. My poor little brain catching up with your maths. It's 3 months is high season, really. So June, July...
12, 13 weeks. Yeah. And then it still rents out for another 3 months, but at a cheaper rent.
Yeah, I would say half rates.
Yeah, that's a good return on what you've had to spend. 1,000 a week, what have they had to spend capital-wise to acquire that?
You'd have to get a two-bedroom place, you're looking at €170,000.
Oh, it's a good return on 170,000.
I know it is.
Euros, I'll work that out. That is a good return on that.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. But you either have to be here to manage it, or you have to have someone to manage it.
Yeah, well, there's loads of little Albanian ladies later.
Yeah, but they bugger off, Judith. That's the problem, as I found. Yes.
But only after the season ends, don't they?
Well, no, mine's gone like in the middle. She had a gallbladder operation.
Yeah, but she was poorly. Nicola.
I know, but that notwithstanding, if I was an Airbnb
No, but listen. You know Stupa. It's better. It's easy if you know the place where you're doing this thing, isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
So you could do it in Worthing because you know it. You could do what Heather's doing because you know that neck of the woods. Yep. You could do Stupa remotely. I think the lady whose house I was in last week was in a house out there she owns and only uses once a year and doesn't bother to rent out.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of them. A lot of them do that. They just shut it and leave it.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of rental potential because there's never enough properties in the high season.
Well, I think a better way of saying that, and that's the point of my whole focus this week, is there's a lot of housing potential. Yours is rental, mine is housing. Do you see the distinction? Which is I needed somewhere to stay for 8 nights and I couldn't find anything on Airbnb and a hotel was too expensive.
Yes. So that I think there's a huge business market right there.
Well, I think people are living differently than they were when we learned property investing 20 years ago.
Yes, they are. So there are other ways to invest and get a return on your money.
Yeah, and a better return. And actually, if you wanted and you were a business person and you took pride in it and you weren't as old as I am, you could actually run it. I mean, the man that owns it drives a Range Rover, and there's an adjacent house here. It looks quite big, looks like 4 bedrooms. I think he probably lives in that one. I haven't even seen him yet. He was on holiday last week when I booked up. His 1.5 staff do it all. And it sort of runs itself because there's no reception. It says, the instructions say, just let yourself into the room. Here it is. The keys in the room. Everything's open. Nobody's particularly worried about security. It's quite remote. It's not you don't feel, somebody's bound, because once you move in, you lock your room and then you go out and you don't think, somebody's bound to steal, because there's another 100 and, I don't know how many, another 50, 25, I don't know, people here.
Yes. Yes, so everyone's watching out for each other.
You feel safe. Well, ish. Yeah. I think just the amount of people on the site, and lovely grounds.
I've stayed in hotels like that where there's no reception and you get a code when you book, and you come in and put the code in, and that's
so actually the tech supports us running a business like this as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All of not all of them, majority of the houses that I stay in as a house sitter have a key box.
Yes, and they're very popular out here as well.
Yeah.
There we go.
Quite fascinating.
Well, is it making you think that you might want to do something like this?
Yes, because the distinction is it's a business. I don't really like property investing. I've got 4 buy-to-lets. They're a pain in the bottom. Whereas actually a business I understand much better than whiny people. I suppose there could be whiny people in this. I'll ask my tomato-faced friend later if...
Why is she tomato?
Because it's so hot here that, when I arrived and I did my moving in and out, I got quite tomato-faced myself. You don't want to exert yourself. There's no breeze. Hasn't been any breeze for about 3 days. I think we've probably all got tomato faces, to be honest. But she is charming. Yeah. Anyway, everybody, I think, gets the point. Let's stop looking at everything except sideways.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Try and think of different ways of doing it. Well, no, what you need to do is come back to that thing you said earlier, which is find what people need and want are already buying and offer it to them in a slightly different way. Or
how could my property investing work better? What if I ran it as a business? How would it look differently? Yeah.
What do people need that I'm not, who the people I'm not serving, who else could I serve that I'm not serving with the obvious?
Yes, and I think actually things like Uber and Airbnb, unpopular as they are because of how they've put existing people out of business, they demonstrate new ways of thinking.
Absolutely, about this. Yeah. They solved a problem. They took. It's like what Branson does. He takes an existing industry and he works out what's wrong with it and he does it better.
Well, the airline, maybe. What other industries has he done that with?
Quite a lot. He
made one example.
The record industry did differently initially. What else has he got? Let's have a look at Branson's businesses.
I don't want to go up the Branson route because he's buying up the NHS and selling it off. Right, let's go to words of the week, Nicola.
Yes, adapt.
Good. Explain more.
I've had to adapt to my cleaner not being here, and I've had to adapt to my Facebook ads account being shut down.
Yes,
so I have to adapt all the time. It's infuriating.
Yes. My word of the week is idiot, because somebody called me that yesterday in the car park.
How dare they?
Well, I've written here, how very dare he. It was a misogynist remark about women drivers and suggesting that I'd parked badly. But actually, he wanted me to park straight up against a curved wall. Quite tricky. With no dividing lines to tell me what position anybody. I'm not a mind reader. Anyway, unhappily for him, he didn't know I was just out of sight, but well within earshot. And if looks could burn a man where he stood. Fortunately, my friend came up to pour calm oil on my troubled waters later, but I was all right by then. But idiot.
Yeah, really. I'm surprised you didn't get a piece of your mind. I mean, I don't think I'd have been able to.
I did accelerate away across the gravel, but how I didn't use an F word, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Right, what's your word then?
Was it an idiot?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. It's hot. It's okay.
In the tirade.
It's okay. Now, tell me, do you have a project update?
I've got a bit of good news for you on the project updates front. We've just closed out June podcast numbers, and they are 3534, which is up about 1,000 on May's 2675.
Okay.
So that's quite a substantial gain from month to month.
Yes.
And looking at the most popular episode through that time frame, it was Getting Out of Your Own Way, which got 556 downloads on its own.
That was Louise's.
It was indeed.
Yeah, well done, Louise. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. And it's probably her following as well, because she's got a good following, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
Yeah. And what about yourself?
Well, nothing this week, and I've realised why. Moving quite so often. When I have to move a lot, 8 nights, then 8 nights, then 3 weeks, then 7 nights.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
Well, the projects of meeting the needs of the householders they seem to be in inverse proportion. The longer I stay, the more relaxed and laid back they are. So an upcoming 8-nighter has given me endless complex instructions. Trusted house sitters give you what they call a welcome pack, which is what you want. But in addition to that, I did half an hour on Skype with her the other day. I got a whole page of notes, extra instructions, the front door's round the back and it's a bit stiff. And if it doesn't work, you go to, Mary in the orange house. But, after that, I go for 3.5 weeks in Cobham. Okay, it's a friend's house. I've got zero information so far except the address, and I don't even have a key yet. It's quite difficult to meet the exacting instructions. That's almost a full-time job, that's what I'm telling you. When you move as often as every 8 nights, that's almost a full-time job. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm having to get a Google document going for the people who are coming to stay here for a couple of weeks.
Yes, what a good idea.
All sorts of little quirky things about
Absolutely, yeah. And do you know what? People are not very good, myself included, for reasons we've just described, at taking in information. The woman in where I'm going next is a published author and a blogger. And like me, is clearly a wordsmith. And she obviously thinks that if you write all your instructions down, she's thinking in her own brain, other people are going to be able to follow them. But actually, she then spent half an hour in the half an hour call, she spent telling me how weird the people were before. Remember that although you and I assimilate information very well, generally speaking, from written instructions, the majority of the world doesn't read them.
Yes, true. Yep.
They'll still be asking you questions. I'd like to bet a £5 or 6 drachma, for every question you get asked.
Yeah, text in the middle of the night. That's what I'm anticipating.
Interestingly, here, one of the rules is we are only allowed to text. We may not call.
Oh, that's interesting. Right. Okay, so who or what's impressed this week?
You go first.
Okay, well, it's interestingly, I was listening to my mentor today, and they said something, the thing about...
Is this your Ilana bird?
No, this is James.
James, yeah.
The thing I like about him is he boils it down to absolute simplicity, and I really respect that in people because my life is complicated and confusing.
Yeah.
And so I was listening to something today. It was a Ask Me Anything call he was doing, and he was saying one of the most difficult clients for him to work for is someone who hasn't nailed their offer that converts yet. And as I'm still feeling that I haven't nailed that because my behaviour online course was converting like gangbusters and to paid traffic. And now I can't even get paid traffic. Well, I'm just trying to start it again on a different platform. But now I've got to find out whether it converts to that traffic. And it converted on the back end to memberships. And I was 2 years ago even, I was selling between 1 and 4 memberships a month and doing rather well. And now I'm not getting just enough traffic to get any sales at all. So I know why I'm not getting sales, but it's annoying. Anyway, he said something rather interesting, and it's when he was talking about how difficult it is when you haven't got an offer that converts to sales yet. He was saying the problem is that everyone is trying to do something different to what everybody else is doing. He said rather than trying to offer something that they're all trying to offer something that nobody asked for or wants, and they're trying to find. Instead, they should be trying to find something that everybody wants, but offer something extra.
Yes.
On top.
Yes.
And he said, what do people ask you for help with? And I was just thinking, this is the hardest thing I have to wrangle with because people want to do social media better. And when I asked all my customers who were actually paying customers, what were you looking for when you found me? They all said things like social media strategy, social media plan, the social media step-by-step instructions. But trying to find a big enough bunch of people who need that is proving quite difficult. And then trying to find words that sell it, because I think what I've done is I've taken it down to too niche now with, females 40 plus who are freelancers, consultants, experts and authors. I just think there aren't enough of them in the world, or I'm not yet able to get in front of enough of them. And I just feel a bit fed up. And
I'd like to say something. when you're on a warm stage, like Neil's in Australia, you sold a lot.
Yes.
Now, maybe you could relax slightly about where they come from.
But the problem is, Judith, if I rely on going and speaking, I have to go and travel the world, and I'm reliant on people giving me speaking gigs. I want to find a way to do this that I am not reliant on anybody else except for myself.
I totally get that, but it's proving very difficult. And what about pursuing the easy rather than chasing the hard? What I mean by that is, I know Neil offers you a chance to speak. Your Matthew Toman is offering you a chance to speak. This self-reliance can be self-harm if you're not careful at times. And the irony of your situation is it's much, much harder for you to do this than it is for your clients because they've got different products.
Yes, they're not in the internet marketing space.
So I'll tell you what we'll do. Why don't we do for the next month, let's make it our summer project. The same as I've just done for property, which is, how can I get in front? What are other ways that I can find these people?
Yes, well, if this deal comes off that I'm still negotiating.
Well, that's another way of finding them, isn't it?
I know, getting in front of large crowds of them.
Yeah.
Other people have the large crowds of them. That's what I need to do. And
they're both men, by the way.
Yes.
And quite a lot of your joiners from Australia, I assume, were men.
No, not yet.
Okay. I meant Neil's audience are men, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 50-50, really.
Yes, you see. So your niche is maybe 50% wrong.
Okay. So, yes, I was just very much impressed with his clarity of thinking there. So,
Well, I think that's what this episode's about in a way. It's about thinking.
It's about thinking sideways.
Yeah, when doors shut in your face. Yeah, when doors shut in your face or it gets struggly, how else can we do it?
Yeah. How else can we do it that might be much, much easier? That's the question.
It is. It's a good question, and you keep asking. We thought we got it last week with Swagger and Soul. I still think that's a great project.
It is, and I'm not going to give up on him.
No.
Just that, when you're slapped in the face quite so hard, it just sort of knocks you back.
But if you could do it with Facebook Lives, which you don't mind doing, that's free.
Yeah, it is. Right, madam, what about you? Who's impressed you this week?
I'm going to read you, I don't know if you signed up for the daily email from Abraham Hicks, did you?
No.
I think this one that came in on Tuesday, which I saved because it reminded me of us on this show. The most magnificent creators don't want to get together with people who think just like they do. They're looking for people who have other thoughts, because out of the contradiction comes ideas that could not be born out of sameness. Your relationships will be ultimately more if you're not identical twins just yesing to everything that the other one is about. So actually, funny enough, I didn't realize that's about thinking. It's about everything today has been about the quality of thinking.
Yes. Where'd you sign up for these daily emails?
I think you go to abrahamhicks.com or something, and I've opted in, haven't I? Most days I skim them and delete them. Some days I think, that's a corker.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that as soon as this show finishes.
Oh, there you go.
Which could be any minute now.
Yeah. Let me just read the first bit again. The most magnificent creators don't want to get together with people who think just like they do. They're looking for people who have other thoughts, because out of the contradiction comes ideas that could not be born out of sameness. You see, that's what I was saying to you just now. Make your summer holiday project to find ideas that don't come out of the same thinking.
Yes.
So it's like, I know this key fits the door. It always used to fit the door. Why doesn't it fit the door anymore? Oh, somebody's changed the lock. It's that, isn't it? Yes. And I realised I was frustrating for you, and in the heat and with all the people, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best, because I do get a lot of downtime on the old sun. Actually, swimming in the sea is good for this kind of thinking. Right, I will head there now. So, see you next week.
Bye.
See you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. Do come and visit us at ownitpodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.